Good morning, story trading VIPs, pre-market prep. Got a lot to talk about, lots of news, lots of catalysts, and we're also going to bring on Mark Mims to discuss TPCS earnings in about 10 minutes or so. So starting with SPY QQQ, you can see here we're relatively stable, dipping a little bit before the open, down about 0.1% on both. ARK down 0.5%. Bitcoin doing a little better. That's a proxy along with ARK-K for risk. So really nothing's changed as far as the major indices and macro perspective. The downside risk, I think, is to the 50 DMA. Doesn't mean we get there. There's obviously some support here, right where we're at in the 410 to 412 range. Some support around the 405 gap that was created right here on July 29th. But there's definitely some risk to the downside. So I'm not trying to be a hero right now. All right. But there was plenty of news out there yesterday that can move specific sectors and specific stocks. First, we had PANW, cybersecurity stock, beat and raise with a three for one stock split announced. You can see here the stock was a good buy if you jumped on it right at the pre-market 550, and now it's at 560. Let's look at the chart. It's gapping above the 200 DMA. That's crazy. I don't know if this gets a pullback somehow to that 200 DMA to about 530. That would be excellent. I don't know if we're going to get it. I'm not in this stock. Those of you are, congratulations. Hey, there's other possible plays. Cybersecurity sentiment plays. I pointed out Zscaler last night, and that's another one. If you got in last night or early this morning, popped a couple bucks. This one has not moved that much in sympathy. They have earnings in a couple of weeks. I forgot the exact date. Let's check here. Estimated earnings September 8th. Yeah, a couple of weeks. So possibly you can see an event anticipation run combined with the sympathy off of PANW, and you could maybe get a nice move. I don't know. I'm thinking 182. This high over here, that's all the way to 188, but 182 to 188, I would say possibly in play in the next couple of weeks before earnings are announced for Zscaler. If you're following any other cybersecurity sentiment, in sympathy with PANW, let us know in the VIP trading room. It's not a sector I follow very closely. I just want to point out Zoom, Zoom missed on earnings, and I think guided down as well, down 12%. So I was trying to read this quickly this morning, see if there's any signs that we can read through to the economy, or this is simply about the back to work play. I'm not sure I saw anything from what I read on the summaries. I didn't read the transcript, but that's the only reason I'd be interested in this, to find out if there's any read through for the broader economy. So worth a look at that, a little further look at that. Man, you can see $80 at risk, which is a 52-week low. I'm not in the stock. Kathy Woods is, and we'll see what happens with that. All right. Some other news I should be aware of. Twitter, there was a whistleblower this morning. You know, the last, I think I talked about this recently, but it seems the odds of Elon Musk having to buy Twitter have been increasing. At least that's the sentiment, and that's why the stock has been moving up pretty aggressively back towards $54. I mean, this is a pretty strong move, and 45, not such a big discount after all the drama. This morning it's down because there's a whistleblower, an employee with the company, shared a lot of news, I think, with the Washington Post and CNN about reckless practices in the company in terms of security, cybersecurity, data, how they deal with data, things like that. So that's why the stock is down this morning. Don't have a position. Perhaps that's an opportunity there. I don't know. Or perhaps in terms of buying it, it's at the 200 DMA, or perhaps this increases the odds somehow Elon Musk gets out of the deal. So something to think about there if you're interested in the story. Someone reached out to me last night, asked me for the technicals on APRN. I know a couple people in the room have been playing this, or at least one has been playing it very successfully. It has to be a couple, because someone else private messaged me last night for a look at the chart. You can see here, it didn't really respect the 200 DMA, up, down, lots of volatility. So when that happens, I switch to the weekly chart. On the weekly chart, you can see it's respecting a little bit better. Yesterday closed over the 50-week moving average, so it didn't have this like whipsaw action over a major MA. The day before, it closed below the 50-week moving average, so that was resistance. Then the next day closed above it, so that has some momentum, possibly to $8 at the 200-week moving average. That was what I let that person know who asked me. Made a move from 650 to 730, not quite to 8. But you know me with targets, how I do it. If I was in this stock, I would not necessarily be waiting for an exact price. As it approaches that target price, I'd be possibly, lightening the load there. So those of you who were in APRN in the room, congrats on that. Maybe you get a little move to $8. It's highly shorted stock, meme stock at this point, 24% short. WTRH had some news this morning. Haven't read it except the title. I don't see this often, where the company for themselves, they describe the impact of a deal. ASAP announces major agreement with Food Boss. I don't know. I get a little skeptical when the companies characterize the impact of their own press releases, but who knows? You can take a look at that to see how meaningful it is. This could have a little bit of sympathy move, obviously, with APRN as well. This stock, wow, look how great it follows all these major DMAs. It had that big move off the bottom for like 15 cents to 55 cents, right off the 50 DMA yesterday. Well, a little bit below it, and now back above it. I'm not in it, not playing it, but if you're interested in this, take a look at that news release. Let us know in the community if you think that's an impactful, if it in fact is major, and if it warrants a trade or investment here. Please let us know. Other thing I want to point out is Dick's Sporting Goods. We're still in this kind of phase. Obviously, BBBY bust put a damper in the sector of the short busting and the meme themes and all that, and the high short position stocks. But Dick's Sporting Goods, I do want to point out, it had a beat and raise, and their short position is 28%. So that's interesting, and you can see it's been consistently going up since this morning from 108 up to 114. And don't have a position on this. It's 114. Oh, look at the resistance here. About 114 to 115 resistance. Oh, it's trying to break out of that resistance. You have a 2200 cross. This looks like an interesting chart. Wow. Definitely looks like an interesting chart. I don't know anything about it. I tend not to trade stocks at all that I don't know anything about, but this is worth looking at. If you're familiar with Dick's, if you think this is a good trade opportunity, let us know in the trade room. But certainly, I think the traders are watching it. I believe this one's trending on StockTwits. So that could be something today. I was surprised GOEV had news this morning, and I thought I'd get a better reaction. It's like no reaction at all. This is on that Walmart deal. If you recall, they're selling, was it 5,000 or 10,000 vehicles to Walmart, but there was a period of time where they had to customize a configuration for Walmart. Maybe quarters, and it looks like it's happened with a matter of weeks, two weeks. They said they were working 7 days a week with Walmart, and Walmart's really impressed, and they came up with their new configuration for the Walmart vehicle. I thought that was very bullish that they could do that very, very quickly in a matter of 2 weeks, and Walmart seems very pleased, and they want to move very fast. I'm very surprised this is not moving in pre-market, so that's on my watch list. I do have a position in this, and I'm hoping, man, I've had so many opportunities to sell this over 4, haven't taken it, so maybe I'll get one more opportunity to sell that over 4 if we get it. Following Summit in the trading room, Summit Therapeutics, we've done really well on that the last couple days with that huge, massive $93 million insider purchase by the CEO. So this could have legs to 225. We'll have to see. We're doing a little bit of fundamental analysis on this with a couple of people in the room, and at this point, it seems the consensus based on a Seeking Alpha article that we didn't get any pushback on from people, that this is at this point like a blank check company. CEO is like a billionaire and is putting all this money into it. The value of the current assets not worth that much. So it seems the CEO wants to acquire other companies. So this is what that's about. So not as interesting or sexy as I first thought. We got really good trade location on this. At least I did at 125, sold at 185, got back in right around here at 150. So maybe we got room to 225. But, after reading that Seeking Alpha article in terms of the fundamentals, not as excited on this position. And I'll be quick to get out of it, especially because I want to retain my profits from 125 to 185. Speaking of, we're getting the Summit, I want to talk about I was on the Wolf Financial Trade of the Week show, which I'm on every week. And a couple things are pointed out. I was looking for possibly submit an energy stock because what's going on geopolitically between Germany and Russia. I looked at a few charts. A lot of them seemed pretty extended. Coal charts are extended. There was a solar chart, CSIQ, that was pretty extended. So I was thinking myself of submitting XLE because I don't know particularly which energy stock to pick. And I didn't pick it, but someone else picked a 2 times XLE, which is ERX. I wasn't even aware of this ETF. So I thought this was possibly a really good trade idea, either ERX or XLE. Obviously, I don't know what's going to happen in a period of 7 days for this Trade of the Week competition. But that's something to possibly look at if you're looking for a quick trade and if you can get a good location on it. Air, man, I just cannot believe there is more and more momentum in terms of huge traders, like whale traders that are aware of air, looking at air, trading air. It was again mentioned on the Trade of the Week show last night by a couple huge traders. Um, this morning, it was mentioned by someone with like 80,000 followers, and they're looking for a breakout. I mean, at this point, air is like so widely known in the trading community. And we're talking about heavy hitters, people who trade large cap stocks with massive liquidity, like they're trading like Teslas and Shopify, like those kind of stocks are what they trade. And they're looking and talking and trading about air constantly. It's at like the top of their watch list. So I found that really interesting because, you can gauge from that perhaps a premium above what you'd expect from fundamental value. So that's very interesting, and that's on the watch list to see if it does break out. All right, we're just going to quickly go through. We'll get to Mark in just a second. So on our watch list, we're looking at EAR, possible reentry off the FDA news. Celsius was a relative strength yesterday. It was very strong. Unfortunately, I lost my position of covered calls on Friday. I'm looking for some sort of reentry, maybe a sell puts, or maybe if we get back to that 93 to 95 support zone, I'll get in. I might miss it though, because in a bad market yesterday, it did really well. And I think 110 breakout above the 52-week high is possibly in play. I don't own it. I'm still trying to get out of PET, possibly the worst trade I've made all year. That's the D-SPAC. I had to try it because of the D-SPAC trend, the low float D-SPAC trend. You can see Ackley busted. It went from like 10 to 45 to 6 in a matter of like 48 hours. That was crazy. Pet, I have a feeling I'll be able to get out today. We'll see. All right. So, and then I'm not going to try it again. Okay. A couple traders noted out in our community who don't usually, people rooted in fundamentals, they're like, oh, it might be time. Not that I'm saying AMC is good fundamentally, but just from a trading perspective, a couple people noted it may be time for AMC. I just want to point out, AMC, it looked like it had a huge drop yesterday, but it really didn't, because it had a preferred share dividend of right now $6.60. You got to add these two together to see the value of AMC. And if you do that, you'll see it actually held this technicals much better. It actually bounced off the 50 DMA when you add the preferred shares that was a dividend. So last night after hours just for a trade. Anyway, last night we had an update on VTSI from Kevin Crawford after earnings. We had a Luck D presentation by management. We're monitoring that for VIP, so we know what to look for breakout. SIGA had a little bit of news this morning, not so important. We're monitoring that for possible pickup at the 20 DMA. Oh, I'm short puts on that, so I like that. And that brings us to money markums for TPCS. Mark, how you doing this morning? You there?
All right. Can you see me, hear me, all that?
I see you. I hear you. We
all
had
right. Coming out of Germany.
Where are you?
I'm in Germany.
Cool. Mark is in Germany in his vehicle. Oh, we just lost him. He'll try to come back on in just a second. So TPCS, we're going to talk with Mark Combs. We had him on about 10 days ago to talk TPCS earnings. Honestly, I didn't realize at the time, because he pointed out, he's like, oh, earnings are out. I'm like, all right, come on the show. And now then we had a press release yesterday and a conference call. So apparently when he came on to talk about earnings, it was just like some sort of pre-announcement. Maybe on the top line there were like or something. I'm not even sure. But last night there were much more details. It was a full press release. It was a conference call. I saw a lot of positive chatter in the TPCS research group. Seems people are possibly more excited than they've ever been with TPCS. So wanted to invite Mark Gomes here to give us his perspective on that. Let me just check, see if we can get him back online here. All right. Sending him a quick message. All right. Okay. All right. So we'll wait for him to come back for a couple minutes, because we can do that. Market doesn't open until 9:30, and there's always plenty to talk about. So let's just take a look at our news feed in the meantime to see if anything else came out since we started. Oh, Truth Social joins Rumble ad platform as first publisher. So we interviewed the CEO of Rumble, and here he is. We'll put Mark back. Mark, how you doing?
Hey, am I back?
You're back. You're back. I gave everyone the quick overview about where we are with TPCS, with the different press releases and everything. So there was, tell us if there's anything new since we last talked to you. We had the press release and conference call last night. I was mentioning I saw a lot of positive chatter in the TPCS research group, so thought maybe something was new. Wanted to bring you back.
Yeah, most definitely. Look, so the actual announcement came out last night. It was in line with the pre-announcement that came out beforehand. But what we got was additional color in terms of the gross margins at the Raynor division. For those who don't know, there's two divisions in this company. The Raynor division is doing primarily submarines on the East Coast, and then you've got the Stadco division doing more aircraft on the West Coast that they recently acquired. And what they said was that Raynor, now that they've ramped up some of the programs on the submarines, their margins are just going through the roof. They got many questions about, was it one-time charges? Why were the margins so high? I was shocked myself. I didn't expect them to get to 37.5% margins anytime soon. And here we are, 37.5% margins, and they're just getting started. The questions then turned to Stadco, because that's a turnaround. And for those who don't know, TPCS was a turnaround themselves. Raynor was a turnaround that Alex Chen engineered. And when questioned on that, you could check in the transcripts in Ben's rooms and my rooms in WhatsApp. He came out and said, listen, this is the same situation as what I found in Raynor when I got a hold of that business. This is what I do. I turn businesses around, and this is what I'm going to do to Stadco as well. So he was bullish about that. When asked about the business, the opportunities, and the orders that are coming in, he said that that all of the above are very strong and exciting. Which, if you know CEO Alex Chen, this guy does not get excited. That's been the knock on him for many years, that he doesn't get investors excited. He doesn't talk excited about his opportunities. And now suddenly, in the last couple of quarters, he has been speaking excitedly, and he's been following through. We have accelerating growth each quarter from 82 to 87 and now over 100% revenue growth. He sees Stadco turning around. And as part of the earnings call, the final thing I'll leave you with is that the board of directors actually came out and gave him a letter to read to shareholders, imploring us to vote in favor of a reverse stock split to enable the company to uplist to NASDAQ, specifically because they believe that it will attract more institutional owners, raise the value of the share price, give them more visibility in the marketplace. And it was like Bizarro world, because for the first time you actually saw the company come out and say, our stock is undervalued, and now we are going to take big steps to change that. Come along with us.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. I have the transcript. I don't know if you can see it, but I have the transcript up, and we're looking at that passage right now. Just one pushback from an outside observer. I'm not deep into the stock at all, but I see a little bit of it. If the stock is undervalued, right, this is going to be like the perspective of the average Joe out there. If the stock is undervalued, why do you need a reverse stock split? Everyone's going to say, isn't it going to go up by itself if it's so undervalued? What do you say to that?
Oh, no. The reverse stock split is necessary to get them uplisted. So you need a higher stock price than $1.50.
Right. No, exactly. I get.
Yeah.
Right, I get that. But if the stock is so undervalued, shouldn't it naturally get to that higher price without a reverse stock split? What's the requirement?
Eventually,
$5?
Yeah, no, and you're talking my language, right? As a pure fundamentalist, right? I know what this thing is worth myself. The question is, from your perspective, from a four pillars perspective, what gets it there? What gets the sentiment up, right, to get it there? And part of that is, accelerating the uplisting, and getting that uplisting will get that valuation up quicker because it will enable institutions to buy in, right? Because right now there's a lot of retail investors that find it difficult to buy the stock because it's on a lower exchange. and there's a lot of institutions, most in fact, are not allowed to buy stocks that are, one, not on the NASDAQ, and two, not $5 per share. So the implication there is that there are a number of institutions that want to buy the stock but can't. That's what it seemed like they were telling us.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they actually nailed my question I had. It says,
Yep.
while a few investors have raised the specter of companies in dire financial straits who have used reverse splits and desperate failed attempts to try to save themselves from being delisted, becoming a penny stock, and ultimately completely failing. Obviously, that's not our situation. We believe any comparisons to these sinking ships is not valid. We ask that you vote in favor of the pros and that you do so expeditiously. Okay, cool. Nice update, Mark.
Right.
Happy to have you here to talk about that. And we'll see how the stock reacts today. Thank you so much. Have a safe drive safe, Mark.
Anytime. Take care.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. All right, guys, coming up at 9:22, I just want to point out.
You got it.
Here,
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Yep, take care. EAR over here, which is one I was saying, hey, let's watch this. Last night, I sparked a conversation on that, and look at it go at this point. I don't know if there's news out on this, but I did note we're at 3 days of low volume consolidation. It might be going up imminently. So take a look at that. I did actually grab some in pre-market about a half hour right before the show at $2.29, $2.30. So, all right, guys, good luck. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of action, lots of news. If you're a trader, lots of opportunity to make some money. And if you're an investor, take a look at TPCS and some of the other stocks in our portfolio that we're always talking about in our VIP picks. You all know those. You know what those are, right? PLAB, REL, CLFD, all those good ones. All right, guys. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Bye-bye.